And we're live here on the Jeff Meacham YouTube channel at youtube.com/Jeff Meacham. Thank you all. There's a couple of you in there right now. Cindy, thank you for the moderation. I appreciate that. We are live. Hopefully, this will be our time slot here on my channel. I'm working on keeping it at 11:30 on Fridays. It's just a matter of scheduling and whatnot. David, welcome. I saw you earlier. Yeah, you asked for my thoughts on Bruno. We will get to Bruno momentarily. He is the topic of the day. Bruno Sammartino, of course, passed away this week at the age of 82. Somewhat sudden from people that weren't on the inside, I guess. But Big Jeff's here. Jeff, you're going to be a moderator because I need help. Let me just do it. Come on. There we go. All right, Big Jeff, you're helping me out today because everybody's late. Before I get into the show, I realized as I was talking with Kayfabe Candy House that today marks 2 years since Joni passed away. China, of course. You can see her. She's up to my upper left there between let's see where she at there. Between Trish and Charlotte. With her China belt on display, thanks to Bad Billy J belts. It's hard to believe it's only been 2 years. Honestly, with Joni being on. Hi, Mike. Welcome. I remember waking up that morning on April 20th, 2 years ago, and going about my day and not knowing that she had passed until very late in the day. Actually, it's still very very hard to deal with the fact that she is no longer with us. Excuse me. Jason, hello. David, yep. We all miss China. Been a very interesting 2 year, and you know, Kayfabe Candy asked, Kayfabe. I forget how to say your name. If you're there, let me know, KCA. Because I know you have a certain way we like to say your name on the NoDQ channel. It's bittersweet that she's gone. Now, Jeff, I'll get to your comment in a minute. Because she's not in the Hall of Fame, and she deserves it. She deserved it when she was still alive, and her and I talked about that more than once. About they had passed over her and slided her in the Hall of Fame category, shall we say? And very very unfortunate that she didn't get the nod when she was still with us. And I hope that the time has healed those wounds between her and the WWE. I don't know where her family stands on. I don't know where her family stands on the WWE Hall of Fame, but yeah, David, watching Ivory go in that really kind of hit me too. And Beth Phoenix mentioning her last year really seems like we're edging toward that moment. I hope so. I hope. Okay, let's see what's going on in the chat room. Yes, Israel, we are doing live every week, hopefully every Friday for this show. We may do some other shows with some other people. It depends. It won't be live. This will be the only live show, as far as I know, that we're going to do on this channel. But we're going to do different shows. We're going to bring in a couple of co-hosts. I've got my boy Bruce Kraft has recommended me to somebody. So recommended somebody to me, I should say. So we'll be bringing them on pretty soon. It's a great time slot, right? Middle of the day for if you're at work on the East Coast, or you're taking a break, or you're coming home from work. Or Breen, welcome. I saw your comments on the old dad shows. I think is what I saw it on. One of the old shows we did. Maybe it was the simulcast with Aaron. So welcome. Thank you for watching. Oh wow. Okay, yeah. China influenced everybody, even people that couldn't hear what she had to say. You know, they understood what she said, and she went across multiple forms of communication. So God bless her. Would Triple H induct her? I would think so, but I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to see it happen. I'd like to see Triple H take that stance and be the one to pay tribute to her. If it wasn't for him and Shawn Michaels, she wouldn't have been in. Sydney makes a good point. I like the Jeff Jarrett comment there. Jeff Jarrett was very influential in China's career, and a lot of people don't know that it wasn't about the money for him. By the time, yes, it ended up being about the money at No Mercy, but he was there for China, for Joni. So there you go. maybe Mark Henry. There's so many people that China influenced and that influenced China's career. It really could be any one of them. Somebody who mentioned that. Denise mentioned Billy Gunn. Why not? I'll do it. Call me, Vince. I will do it right now. I swear to God. I know Billy and her were best friends, so if Billy Gunn won't do it, I sure will, because I got plenty to say. Jeff Jarrett is a good choice. Okay, so we go from a 2-year-old passing to this week, and who mentioned? Somebody mentioned about all the deaths all week. I'm gonna go back and look. X-Pac could be a good one. Let me see. Let's see. Big Jeff mentioned that. Okay. It would be shady for Hunter or Steph, probably. There you go. Okay. All right. Yeah, a lot of. So I'm gonna get choked up because I'm already choked up about Joni. I forgot it was her day, and now I'm all. Blah, blah, blah. For me, growing up, a lot of people that passed away this week, it's very surreal. It's very odd because every one of them impacted my life or my family's life at some point or another, as far as the medium of television, the medium of film. Gunny, I forget the guy's name. R. Lee Emery, I believe his name is. He played Sarge in the Toy Story movies, the little toy soldier guy. So he was involved in my upbringing and my son's upbringing as far as movies to watch and things to be entertained by. Harry Anderson, of course, a Night Court. I loved Night Court, and I never knew he was in it. I never knew that he was, because I never seen it the whole way through. It was not good old JJ Williams, my old co-host, my old roommate, introduced me to it. Actually watching the movie, and I realized that he was an adult. I did not know Harry was in that before, either before or during Night Court. So it was cool to see him in a different venue, because he's always the funny guy. It was very odd to see him in a role such as that, and it was very interesting. Barbara Bush, of course, former First Lady, one of the most recognizable First Ladies of my lifetime. And when I was growing up, she was the Vice First Lady. I don't know if that's Second Lady. I don't know what the term is for her, but she was the Vice President's wife when I was growing up. And then, of course, she became the First Lady when President Bush became president. A lot of you too young to remember that, but that's okay. So it's just very hard. And then, of course, the other day, both Bruno and Paul Jones passed away. Very hard for wrestling fans that day for sure. I believe it was Wednesday. Arlie Emery, thank you, Mike. Emery, Arlie Emery. I can see it Emery. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Bruno's passing. Giant Mob says Bruno's passing hurts my heart because my grandfather saw Bruno as a god and sung his praises until my grandpa's passing. Oh wow, a few years ago. Yeah, I mentioned on NoDQ Review yesterday that I got to know a friend of Bruno's. He's our driver at the Child and Family Center. We go for therapy and things like that. Our family, and he's friends with Bruno. So he gave. I said it was in the mail. I don't know where that phrase came from yesterday. It was not in the mail. It was handed to us by our friend Anthony, who knew Bruno, who worked with Bruno. And it's up there on my mantle right now, along with my Hulk Hogan picture and my autographed picture of Candice Michelle and Dylan's mom. So it sucks because the whole plan was to gotta watch NoDQ Review, Jeff. Make sure it's a good show this week. It was long, but it was fun. It was fun to record. It was on. I appreciate the bring dads back hashtags. JJ lives in San Bernardino County. It's hard to get together. And he's got his life, I've got mine. We're not living together anymore. It's very hard to get together and do these things. So maybe one day. Let him know you want him back. Maybe let him know you want him back. He doesn't watch wrestling very much anymore. So hard to get him involved in a wrestling conversation at the Dad of Wrestling if he's not watching wrestling. So there you go. Okay, where was I? Oh, so Bruno. I'm gonna get to Paul Jones because I saw Dave Reynolds say Paul Jones hit me hard because I was thinking about him when I found out. Mike, I miss you guys too. I really do. It's weird not being around, but such as life. Anyway, I'm getting all caught up in the moment here. I didn't grow up watching either one of the either Bruno or Paul Jones, Bruno Sammartino or Paul Jones. Bruno was way before my time, even in the WWF years in the '80s. He was. I didn't start watching until 1990, so I didn't really know of Bruno other than he was the guy on Donahue that was lambasting the business. I'm grateful. I said this yesterday. I'm grateful to Triple H that he went out of his way to recognize Bruno's legacy and bring Bruno back into the fold, into the WWE family, recognize him in the Hall of Fame, give him the bronze statue that we've seen over the years, and it's it's cool that he got his legacy recognized the way that it does Giant Mob. People outside of our chosen choice of entertainment, whether it's movies or TV or wrestling or whatever, they don't understand that when the names of this industry pass, it's hard for us because we are one big dysfunctional family in wrestling, whether it's the fans or the people in the business or the podcasters like me or whatever. Um, it's I forgot it was Joni's day, so I'm all messed up now. Okay. The title is Bruno's Legacy. Bruno's Legacy is, I mentioned this yesterday on No DQ Review. He was, is, and always will be the reason that I sit in this chair. And people, Hogan, made the territory explode into a national power, and Austin took it to the next level, and now Cena's the guy, and Rock and Hunter, and that's all true. But it was Bruno Sammartino that made the WWF the place to watch. And in a time where the NWA Championship was dominated by Lou Thesz, and Buddy Rogers, of course, was the first WWF champion after the NWA dispute, and guys like Kaniski and Funk, and both the Funks, I should say. Bruno was the standard bearer of the Northeast, and Bruno. Somebody mentioned that their grandfather thought Bruno was a god. He was a living, breathing god in the Northeast Territory, in New York, and Pennsylvania, and all the Washington D.C. and everybody. And he was the first WWF superstar, WWF even. He was the first superstar before Superstar Billy Graham called himself the superstar. Bruno was the attraction, the main guy of the main territory in the country. And without Bruno Sammartino being the champion for 8 years, if you count his other reign, what was it, almost over 10 years, there wouldn't be a WWE, there wouldn't be a No DQ, there wouldn't be a Jeff Meacham Talk Wrestling t-shirt for me to plug every week. By the way, ProWrestlingTees.com/NoDQandAV. Gotta get the plugs in when I can. Working on the hats. I'm working on it. Yeah, thank you, Steve. You know what? Here, Steve, you're gonna get you're gonna help out here if you want to. Nope, not what I wanted to do. Nope, stop. There we go. Okay. Thank you. By the way, it's not up yet, but Fight Talk, Steve Jensen. I recorded that earlier today. We started at about 8:30 this morning. We were done at 10 because we just went on and on. We kind of started with no topics whatsoever. We just kind of went off into the weeds, and it was a fun. I always have fun appearing on the Fight Talk podcast. Go check it out, Steve. Plug it in the chat room. I'll plug it on the mentions later. It's yeah. You're right, Jeff. When you play the Three Doors Down song, you think of Eddie, and damn it, y'all suck. Anyway, so yeah, without Bruno, there is no internet wrestling community. Someone who said that, Cindy, yeah, Cindy said that. Without Bruno Sammartino, there is no professional wrestling sports entertainment business. There you go. There's the plug. If you're watching if you got the comments over, let's see, over here. No, it'll be over here. I don't know. Anyway, Fight Talk Podcast. Well, David, the problem with Pedro Morales, and I will say this, I don't think I think of Dusty and Eddie every day as well, Giant Mob. Spring training, spring football. Saw it here first. Okay. Pedro was inducted into the Hall of Fame, but he didn't want his recognition. I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that he didn't want to go. He didn't want to be recognized. So I think he made that choice. I think. I don't know if that's for sure. This is just what I remember reading over the years. So again, take my for what it's worth. But Pedro is recognized as the greatest Latin superstar up until Eddie Guerrero. You know, I mentioned this on the Fight Talk podcast. You know, there hasn't been really a Latin, Hispanic, whatever you want to call it, superstar since Eddie, until it looks like Andrade Cien Almas is going to be that guy. He's got the charisma, he's got the looks, he's got the skill. The guy is good. He went from opening TakeOver last year to main eventing it this year, WrestleMania weekend. So the guy's got talent. He's got Zelina Vega, who is amazing on the mic and in the ring. She's a great wrestler. Let's not forget that. Anyway, Bruno's legacy will always be that he was the guy that started it all. You know, I remember watching Hogan's induction and being at Hogan's induction, and then saying, you know, Hogan was the guy that started it all. It's like, guys, I'm a Hulkamaniac. Don't get me wrong. Mysterio was the star at the same time as Eddie, and he just got injured. He never really got off the ground once he got the Eddie spot, if that makes sense. That's condescending, I guess that sounds like, but Ray got Eddie's spot with the World Championship. So, and Carlos Colon even before Pedro's time. CJ, I'm glad to be here. Anyway, Bruno was the guy. Bruno Sammartino is the one that, you know, people say to start the Hall of Fame for Andre the Giant. Without Bruno Sammartino, there is no Hall of Fame. There is no WWE. There is no me talking to all 23 of you, or whatever's in here right now with 4 likes. Yay me. There you go. Paul Jones. I didn't really get to see a whole lot of Paul Jones because I did not start watching WCW when it was Jim Crockett Promotions. I didn't start watching WCW until right around the time Luger became the champion and Flair had left and he was becoming the Real World Champion in the WWF. CJ, I will be here every Friday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 Eastern, God willing, voice willing. By the way, for everybody that said I was flaking again last week, this is what I sounded like. So, talking won't make for a good talk show if I'm... Yes. So, yeah, just throw it out there. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so Paul Jones. Paul Jones, multiple-time United States champion in the Mid-Atlantic Territory, which, of course, became the official undisputed U.S. championship in the NWA territories, and, of course, WCW at the end of the Jim Crockett run in 1988. Don, hello, sir. And he became an unbelievable villain manager. He was part of the first Starrcades. He was a big factor in, I think, Starrcade 86 or 85 with, I want to say it was Jimmy Valiant. That sounds right. CJ, I am ready for your questions, dude. The chat room is right here. I got everything ready to go. I'm just kind of rambling on topics, talking about the passing of people and the passing of time. It's been 2 years since Joni passed. Still hard for me to wrap my head around that. I don't have a really good picture with Joni. I don't have a good, solid, nice picture with her. I never watched Georgia. I've been trying to keep up on the network with Georgia, but there's so much content on the channel, the network. It's crazy even for me. Let's see. Who's your favorite ring announcer? My favorite ring announcer, honestly, is Tony Chimla. People are like Tony, but I think he's great. Rated R, superstar. There you go. That's my Tony Chimla impression. Yes, Bruce was at Joni's memorial with me. It was a rough night, but it was a good service. We saw a lot of friends, and it was a good night. It was a therapeutic night for Joni when we. Yeah, they got mad. I went to go pick it up, and people were picking it up before I got to the head of the line, and they were, I get to pick it up, and they freak on me. So I made sure I put the action figure that I've had since the day I bought it, and her book, which she signed and doodled to me, and there, yeah. Giant Mob, what is your controversial question? Please, I'm dying to know. Okay, I need to not do that. I like Greg Hamilton. The problem is he's got that one fall curse. Never too much Corey Graves. At least I didn't think. I used to think that way. I like Corey Graves. He was great to me at Booker's event. It'd be nice to see more variety in the commentary teams. Giant Mob, what's your question? Booker's back on commentary? Oh dear, good grief. PB does. Wasn't on this channel, buddy. Wasn't on this channel, Giant Mob. That's all I'm going to say. He didn't say a thing on my channel. Booker's back. I have to say, okay, well, there you go. Booker's back, and I'm upset. Is he on Raw? Is he replacing Coachman? Is Coachman gone again? CJ, my favorite referee is definitely Little Nate, Charles Robinson. He's my favorite. So animated, so fun to watch. So cool. I know what you're talking about, Giant Mob. I'm not going to say... I'll say he must not be named. How about that? He's one of the many on this channel that must not be named. I don't really have a comment, to be honest with you, because I worked with him once. Literally once. And I got what I got. So there you go. That was my impression of Vito. I'll say it. When I worked with Vito that one show, that was what I got from him, was what you saw. So I don't have an opinion. He was a great in-ring competitor, but he wasn't anything special. There was a lot of shuffling in the middle of the card there in both WWE and WCW. So it was rough on everybody, not just him, to get ahead. Let's see. It is his career, I don't think, went where he wanted to go. Thank you for correcting me, Bruce. I appreciate that. But it was a good career. I just don't think it's where he wanted it to be. And I don't know Vito. I don't know him. So I'm speaking out of turn there. I really don't want to do that. Dave Meltzer named... See, it's not just me. Even Meltzer thinks Booker's a terrible commentator. Why are they putting... Can somebody tell me why they're putting him on commentary? Can somebody... Again, can we get off... Vito, please? I'm already over it. NXT. You know what? Jeff, you said you're going to NXT tonight or this week? What's the card? You're good, CJ. He feels king shoes. Okay, well, you're going tomorrow night. Enjoy NXT. Let me know how the show goes. Should be a fun show. Yeah, Booker was on the kickoff. Apparently, I know it's a hell show. My favorite referee is Charles Robinson. I agree with you, Charles Robinson. He was a great referee. He still is a great referee to this day. The guy doesn't age. He's like Dick Clark, except he doesn't have the issue at the end that Dick Clark had. He looks young. He's still working like crazy. It's awesome. So God bless Little Nate. Woo. But anyway, let me go back about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it was. I turned myself 3 minutes. Paul Jones, unfortunately, kind of overshadowed when he passed, because Bruno passed the same day. Paul Jones deserves recognition. Paul Jones may just end up having himself a Hall of Fame induction next year or something soon. Uh, I think he's one of the best heel managers we had. And they had him in Atlantic. He's one of the greats. David Reynolds. Let's see. I like Drake as a referee too. I like Drake. He's doing very well for himself. Good for him. I love it. Absolutely love it. Thoughts on Baszler? Okay, David. Shayna Baszler, I think, is still trying to gain her footing. Yes, she's the champion, but there's still something missing there. I don't know what it is, but something is not clicking with me and being an audience member watching Shayna Baszler. I can't verbalize it. I can't figure out what it is up here to make it happen here, but I don't get it yet. Does that make any sense? And EC3, I like the ladder match was good. I haven't watched the other match yet, so I don't know how he's been outside the ladder match. I thought ladder match was what it was. Ladder matches are train wrecks. There's no getting around the fact that ladder matches are complete train wrecks. In my opinion, Paul. Well, I'm biased with Percy. You know that. My favorite manager was Bobby. Bobby was the best manager I saw. But I also I got to know Percy toward the end, Paul Bearer. So that's been 5 years. I can't believe that's been 5 years. So that's hard too. I think that's it, Bruce. I think her lack, there's no connection. She's just this badass and there's no real emotional twang with her. There's no like reach out and I want you to watch me and I'm the best and whatever. It doesn't work for me yet. Thank you, Bruce. I didn't really notice this. Again, I was so caught up in the moment of a new championship that I really didn't notice the bad spots. I'll have to go back and watch it again now that you say that, David. I'll have to check it out. Jimmy Hart, very underrated. Jimmy Hart's another guy that I've met several times. I got to meet him when I met Hulk in 2009. Thank God I remember what that was. Almost 10 years. Geez, time just flies. Anyway. Jimmy Hart's an underrated manager for sure. Paul Bearer was one of the greatest ever, if not the greatest ever. Same thing except for Bobby. Same except for Paul Heyman. Those guys are all in that category that the Wizard, Albano, and Blassie used to be 30 years ago, or whatever it was, almost 40 years ago now. Those guys, all right. So, okay, EC3 messed up. I admit I missed it, and move on from EC3. I missed it. I will watch again. I promise. I will literally stop this film and put on the network and watch the pay-per-view again. I promise. Backlash works. Backlash is a good show. Tell you what, guys. Talk Wrestling. It's going to be live every Friday right here on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jeff Meacham. I don't know how I got the URL. I managed to get it from the actor guy, so I love it. Works for me. What do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see me do stuff like this where I do interaction like Aaron does on his live shows? Do you want me to can stuff and do interviews? What would you guys like to see? Let me know. Let's see. Yeah, I don't understand the bullying segments. That kind of it doesn't work. We're supposed to be not bullying people. We're being a star, right? Be a star, folks. And then she's bullying people. So I don't know. You guys are liking the live Q&A. That's good because I feel like I'm stutter stepping a lot through this because I'm trying to come up with topics. Because I was talking about Bruno. I was going to talk about Paul Jones, and then I remember now. As I get Twitter interactions, let me just see what Twitter's saying before I move on. Oh, there we go. Somebody talking about no DQ review yesterday. What did you guys think of the review yesterday? Come on, work. It is an emotional day, Jeff. No question about that. What if Vince would have sold to Eric Bischoff? I don't think that ever would have happened. I think Vince would have been too prideful to sell to Bischoff or to anybody really. At that point, I think he wanted to either make the company work or go down with the ship. That's what I think would have happened. So there you go. Let's see where we go. Mix of both. All right, we'll do that. Be a star, Roman. Let's see. They don't feel organic. You're right, David. They feel forced. They don't feel like it's just. It doesn't feel like it's actually happening. Like, oh, well, here's a pre-tape. Stupid. All right, so I'm gonna go off the live chat here, so I won't be able to. I'll look at it up here as it comes up. So if I go too fast, that's just too bad. I won't all this stuff. The Greatest Royal Rumble is coming up a week from today. Actually, I'll be taping that. I'll be broadcasting this show live immediately after the Greatest Royal Rumble. That's what we'll do. Maybe because it's a 10-card show, so and plus it's a Royal Rumble, so maybe I'll go on before. Fridays are hard. Fridays are going to be hard. It looks like. You've got Undertaker versus Rusev in a casket match. We all know it's going to go. We talked about this yesterday on the No DQ review that they're burying Rusev. It's like, I think it's good for him to give him exposure to the audience in Saudi Arabia, and we get to see the Undertaker come out and do his thing. It's always awesome. Cena versus Hunter. That's a all-star match. Okay, here's our two top guys. Boom, here you go. There it is. Cedric Alexander is going to be defending the Cruiserweight title. That'll be a fun match for the guys in the Middle East to see. I'm not gonna be there. I am not flying to Saudi Arabia on purpose. No way. That's way too far, way too expensive. The Bludgeon Brothers against the Usos. Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy against Sheamus. Now, here's the interesting thing. If Sheamus and Cesaro win, they're the Raw Tag Team Champions, but they're on SmackDown. So they're not going to win. Not really interesting, I guess. I'm kind of doing a prediction thing now, but I don't know. We're going to do a prediction show. I believe we're taping that tomorrow for the No DQ review. Or No DQ panel, I guess it's going to be that tomorrow. We're going to tape that tomorrow with Aaron and Virtue and probably a guest or Greg. I'm not sure what we're doing there, but we'll do the official predictions for that. We'll tape that tomorrow. Probably go up Wednesday with Aaron's scheduling. He'll probably go up Wednesday. So we'll do that. Yeah, I like that they're trusting Rusev with this. I'm going to go off this thing. I'm not going to use it after all. I like that they're trusting Rusev enough with The Undertaker, and that Taker trusts him enough, because Undertaker works with everybody. So it's cool that he's given Rusev that chance to share the limelight, if only for a few moments, because casket matches usually don't go the way of the challenger, if you will. It's not really a title match, but it is a challenge. It's the greatest challenge, as they call it. And they did replace Rusev, Bruce, but then they put him back in. Jericho's out, Rusev's back in. That news broke this week. Undertaker is one of the best. My dad will tell you he's the best of all time. He's the best character of all time. He's probably the greatest character developed ever. But as far as greatest of all time, you've got Bruno, you've got Hulk, you've got Austin, you've got Rock, you got Hunter, you got Flair, you've got Steamboat, you got Sting. There's so many greats. Who is the absolute best ever? Up for debate. Up for debate. Let's see. Ooh. I didn't know he had spinal stenosis. Okay. I would love to see Cassius be called up and reform the Kings of Wrestling. Yes, 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 please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Wrestling Mount Rushmore. Ooh, on the spot live here on YouTube. All right, here it is. Ready? Vince. Hogan. Flair. Bruno. If we're not counting wrestlers, Flair, Hogan, Bruno, Austin. There it is. Write it down. Somebody send that back to me so I can put a graphic up, because I'm not going to remember that shit in 10 minutes. I wouldn't have the Aleister Black debut just yet, Cindy, because SummerSlam's only a few months away. We need somebody to carry the NXT title long term and really build that title back up. It's kind of been bouncing around. Andrade had it for a while, but then we knew he was going to lose. It was almost a foregone conclusion he was going to lose. Undertaker, you see, Flair just belongs up there. Thank you, Jeff. Flair belongs up there in that top 4 of all time as far as the wrestling Mount Rushmore. He is the greatest champion not to have been the dominant champion in the WWE. He was the greatest he was the greatest NWA world champion. And the NWA was just what did that say? I don't know what that means. So we're going to do that. Okay, sorry about that. Well, am I frozen? Oh shit. I'm frozen. Why am I frozen? Can you guys see me? Oh. Hello? I am frozen. Damn it. Oh! Son of a bitch.